Hi, I'm Sammy Turner, and I'm here to persuade you on why we should abolish the penny. How many of you have ever been in line behind somebody who thought they were going to get an exact change trophy for counting out 38 pennies at the cash register? I know I have. I'm sure all of you hardly ever use pennies anymore as they're virtually pointless. Most people nowadays use electronic forms of payment such as credit, debit, or even phones. I mean, you can tap your phone and bam, there's a payment. I've done a lot of research on the topic on whether or not we should abolish the penny in the United States, and I am excited to share my findings with you today. Pennies should be removed from circulation in the US because they cost more to produce than they are worth. They hold almost no value, hardly anyone ever uses them, and other countries have successfully abolished them. First, I will discuss the history of the penny and other denomination coins. Then I will discuss reasons for abolishing the penny, and finally we'll give information of other countries' experiences with abolishing the penny. Let's take a look at when the first penny was made, as summarized by Krellin, an economics researcher. The penny was introduced in 1793 and has since been a basic part of America's history. The first coins made were 1 cent, half dimes, half dollars, and dollar coins. All of these small denomination coins, including 2 and 3 cent pieces, were discontinued at some point, except for the original penny. Over time, the composition of the penny has changed. The first iteration made exclusively of copper, and today is made almost completely out of zinc except for a copper plating. In the late 1800s, the penny was made of a small amount of bronze and copper. For a very short time during World War II, pennies were made of steel and zinc to reserve copper for the use in war. These steel pennies are still today very rare and valuable. Pennies today are made of over 97% zinc with just a small little bit of copper around the zinc to keep the production cost down. Now that we know where they came from, let's take a look at why the penny is no longer needed today. In the last decade or so, the penny has again become a topic of debate and political interest, public interest, due to increasing cost, decreasing use, and the extremely low value of the currency. According to the U.S. Mint's 2021 annual report released earlier this year, pennies are costing over 1.8 cents to produce, which is nearly double the value of the penny. This expense places an unnecessary burden on American taxpayers and is one reason they should be abolished. If you do the math based on the average hourly wage of an American, as recorded by the Bureau of Labor's report earlier this year, you can determine that it takes less than 2 seconds to pick up a penny, or to make a penny. So it's literally not worth your time to pick up a penny. Pennies are hardly used in the everyday lives of Americans. Most people exclusively use electronic forms of payment, such as credit cards, debit cards, and mobile payment. Pennies themselves are so worthless that people typically leave them at the register for someone else, or some people collect them in jars to give away. Some people even throw them away. And I think that tells us enough, honestly, about what we need to know. If pennies were no longer used, cash transactions would be rounded to the nearest 5 cents, and other forms of payment would use exact values. There would be almost no difference in cost due to the fact that things would only be rounded up or down a cent or two. Despite these great reasons to dispose of the penny in America, some people have arguments against this change. Many argue that getting rid of the penny will raise prices, hurt the poor, and cause various other issues, according to research done by Lane, an economics reporter. Opponents to this movement argue that the rounding of the transactions will make goods cost more and therefore hurt the poor. when in all actuality, you could round up on some and round down on some, and it would fluctuate out to an even level. Other sparse arguments are based only on sentiment or special interests. Some people are worried about the sentiment, collectability, and tradition of the penny. I suggest that the government continue to mint collector's editions of the penny while removing the rest, as they do with other coins. Others are concerned about the zinc industry and other related things, but our world needs valuable materials like zinc and copper, so we shouldn't be wasting this limited resource on such useless pennies. Although America still needs to get rid of the penny, other countries have successfully gotten rid of it with a lot of success. Canada successfully removed the penny in 2013, and transition into a penniless society went very well. The Canadian government was struggling with the rising cost of the penny and decided to abolish it. They stopped production in 2012 and stopped distribution in 2013. The consumers in the country have been happy with the result. Transaction times are faster, government waste is down, and there's a less harmful effect on the environment. The government has even planned to buy back the pennies and recycle them to sell the component materials in bulk, further reducing waste. This is estimated to bring in around $31 million just from recycling old pennies. We now know how useless the penny is and how countries like Canada stopped using the penny, so let's review. I think by now you would agree pennies should be removed from our cash registers and our pockets in the United States because they cost so much to produce and they don't hold much value. The penny, although having a long history in the US, has become unneeded and useless in our traditional society. This is why we should remove the penny from circulation and move towards a more efficient and cost-effective form of currency.